Hey, my name is Connor, and welcome to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. In this video, I'll be taking a deep dive into Derby Stars, which is the NFT play-to-earn horse racing metaverse game built on the Terra Blockchain. In my previous Derby Stars video, I did a broad overview on the project, including how the actual gameplay mechanics work, as well as the play-to-earn aspect. Now in this Derby Stars video, I'll be taking a deep dive into the actual NFT horses themselves, so that you have a much better understanding on what makes one horse better from another, so that if you are in the market for picking up one of these horses, you know exactly what to look for. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. If you're not already subscribed to Crypto Empire, now is the perfect time to head down below and smash up that subscribe button and turn on all the notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. And let the gains be with you. So Derby Stars is one of the biggest and most highly anticipated NFT projects on the Terra blockchain. They've already had 2 of their mints so far. They call it a pre-sale. They will be having their 3rd mint or pre-sale, as you can see, in 1 day and 4 hours time. So it is right around the corner. We can go ahead and take a look at this article, and we can go ahead and read a little bit about this upcoming pre-sale. So the final mint will include 4,000 horses, topping off the final supply of 10,000 origin horses. In my previous Derby Stars video that you can go ahead and watch right here, I went into full detail about the origin horses and how they will be different from the actual horses that you can breed in game. Long story short, you will have a benefit for holding one or multiple origin horses. So let's go ahead and read a little bit further. The pre-sale will take place on the One Planet NFT platform. One Planet is one of the best NFT marketplaces on Terra. And then we can go ahead and read further. The date and time of the sale will take place on May 4th at 12 a.m. to May 5th until 5 a.m. That is the UTC time zone. So make sure you have it marked in your calendar if you are actually interested in taking place in this pre-sale. So the mint cost is going to be 5 Luna, and for the whitelist, there will be 2,910 common and rare horses. And then for the public sale, there is going to be 800 common and rare horses. This will be open to everybody, of course, and I'm almost sure it's going to sell out instantly over here on One Planet. So definitely be ready. Make sure your Ethernet cord is plugged into your computer if you were interested in minting in the public, because you will need a very quick connection, because I'm sure it will sell out pretty much instantly. Now, they will be having a Ask Me Anything on their Twitter account. And this is going to be the last opportunity to get on the whitelist for Derby Stars. This is going to be taking place in a few hours. As you can see, it will be held on the 3rd of May at 1 a.m. UTC. There will be a live whitelist raffle. So if you haven't gotten a whitelist ticket yet for Derby Stars, this is your opportunity to do so. Tune into that AMA and also follow Derby Stars on Twitter. Now let's go ahead and hop into the actual horse NFTs, so that if you're interested in picking up one of these on the open market, of course it's not financial advice, but I think this project is going to be a home run. If you're interested in picking up one of these horses, you need to know what to actually look for, because there's going to be 10,000 of these and they're all different. So what makes one horse better than the other? Let's get into that right now. So the first thing you need to understand is that over here on One Planet, you can go ahead and pick certain attributes that you want to specifically look for. As you can see, all the talents, skills, abilities, etc. are all listed here. Now, as you guys recall from the previous video, there are common horses, rare horses, and unique horses. Common horses can be just as good performance-wise as a rare horse, but the rare horses and the unique horses have a better chance of breeding rarer offspring, right, when you go ahead and breed the horses. But a common horse can still be a stud champion racer. So just to keep things very simple, let's go ahead and pick this horse to actually examine. Relatively close to the floor price. It's listed at 9.69 Luna, trading at around $793 with the current Luna price. So as you can see, this horse's rarity is common. All right, so this is a common horse. Now let's go ahead and first of all, we're going to look at the stats over here. There are speed, stamina, power, grit, and intellect. I did briefly touch up on what these will actually do for your horses in the game in the last video, but just so that you are fully up to speed, let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So like we talked about, there are 5 stats: speed, stamina, power, grit, and intellect. These 5 stats have a very direct impact on the race, as shown below. So your speed is your top velocity, your stamina is your hit points amount, which is the amount of time that your horse will actually be able to run at maximum speed. Your power is your acceleration and your penalty reduced for running corners. And then your grit is deceleration, as well as improve the dirt/weather adaptability, right? So if a horse is gritty, it doesn't care if it's raining or snowing or if it's muddy. It's just going to go out there and compete. And then a penalty reduced when surrounded by many horses, right? So if it's gritty, it doesn't care if it's getting boxed in, it's still going to compete. And then intelligence or intellect is extremely important because that is the skill activation probability and frequency of use, and also the horse's sight, as well as the debuff avoidance. So we'll be getting into the skills, right, in a little bit, but intellect has a direct impact on your horse's ability to actually go ahead and use its skills. So that is definitely one thing to look for. You will be able to train your horse's intelligence up, but some of them start with very high intelligence, and some people, depending on the horse's other attributes, may find a high intelligence horse better than a faster or more powerful horse. Something to keep in mind. There's a lot of game theory that is going into this actual game. In my first video, I went through the white paper on how the gameplay will work, and a lot of game theory is involved in this, and each one of these stats, attributes, skills, and talents will all make a difference when it comes to actually who wins the race. So it's very important that you do have a horse or multiple horses that can give you the best chance to win the races and, of course, earn as much as possible from actually playing this game. All right, so let's go ahead and read a little bit about these stats. So the higher the speed stat, the higher the maximum speed the horse can run. So of course it is common knowledge that a high instantaneous top speed is not enough to win a race. How fast a horse can get to that speed and how long it maintains that speed after it reaches top speed are also very important factors. So the two stats, power and stamina, are configured to play different roles. All right, so there's speed, power, and stamina so far. And then we can go ahead and read further that instead of running in individual lanes like in human track and field, horses have mixed competitors and mixed positions in the race. So you want to basically not have a nervous horse. So intellect and grit are the skills to materialize these elements, right? All the different things happening during the race. There's a lot of game theory involved, like I said. You know, it's a live event. So having intellect and grit is very important to compete. And then as well, the stadium, the actual racetrack, they're all going to be different. So the condition of the stadium is important. It can be affected in a number of ways, whether the material of the stadium floor is grass or dirt, whether the weather is good or bad, whether it is a stadium with long straight lines or a stadium with frequent curves, and whether there are many or few competitors. Therefore, high speed and stamina alone are not always advantageous. A high grit is important when running with many horses in bad weather, and power is important on a field with a lot of corners. All right, so speed is not everything here. And then we can read further. Finally, to further increase the fun of the game, we will implement more than 500 skills, which will be activated when each condition is satisfied. As explained earlier, each horse has 6 skills, the normal skills, and then the one special skill that can only be used at the end of the race. That's very important to note. The 5 normal common skills can be used all throughout the race, depending on the conditions. Some of them you can only use in the beginning of the race, it will tell you, but the special skills can only be used during the last final spurt of the race. And then we can go ahead and read a little bit further. Having only 1 or 2 good skills does not always guarantee victory, but several skills will need to be activated in the right situation to achieve victory. Of course, the frequency and probability of using these skills depend entirely on the horse's intellect. Have you ever thought what difference would it make if an intellect of a horse was superior than others? In Derby Star's metaverse, there really is a big difference, okay? So this is very important to note, especially if you are on the market for a horse or multiple horses. So after we read that article, we can now go ahead and analyze what this horse 6507 has to offer. And it has a speed of 53, which is decent. It has a stamina level of 50, which again is decent. And then a power level of 78. So this horse will be very good on a track, basically with a lot of curves, a lot of corners, a lot of turns. And then it has the grit of 37, which isn't necessarily great. And it has an intellect of 32, which also isn't really anything special. So this horse is basically good for a track with a lot of turns, looking at its stats. And then there are also, of course, the skills. So with the skills, we can see all 6 of them right here on One Planet. And remember, there are over 500 different skills, so most horses will not have the same ones at all. And then after that, there are the talents, okay? So there's the runaway runner, the front runner, the stalker, as well as the stretch runner. Now, before we do get into the skills and the talents, I do want to mention how there is actually a rarity calculator guide for all Derby Stars horses, and this is available for everybody to use. I will leave the link down in the description below so that you can easily tell if your horse, if you like it or not, really. So this horse is number 6507. So all we have to do is actually type in horse 6507 here, and it's going to pop up on our screen, and we will get a detailed analysis on this horse. So this horse is a common, which we already discussed, and it is ranked 4,212 out of 6,027. All right, so that puts it in the top 69th, 70th percentile. And this rarity guide also tells us the talents as well as the stats and skills, as you can see here. So for the talents, let's go and look at the talents right now. It does tell you whether it's an S, A, B, C, or D. S is the best rank. That's going to be a 5 on this. And then a D is the worst rank, and that's going to be a rank 1. Now, when it comes to the horse's talents, let's go ahead and break these down right now so that you really understand what each one represents. And if you're looking for a specific horse with a specific talent, you know which one you want. So let's go ahead and read. In Derby Stars, there are 4 types of talents shown above. There's the stretch runner, the stalker, the front runner, and the runaway runner. All right, so the runaway runner is a running style that aims to maintain the forefront until the finish line. All right, so it's going to be in the front. If you do have a horse with an S rank runaway runner, right, this one is a C, so that's 1 up from D. But if you have a horse with the runaway runner trait, you're basically going to want it to have high speed and high stamina. That's going to be very important for the runaway runner talent. And then we can go ahead and read the front runner. So the front runner runs behind the runaway runner, and it aims to win by increasing the speed from the middle of the race. So definitely power and stamina are going to be very important for the front runner. And then the stalker. So the stalker is a running style that is positioned behind the front runner until the middle of the race and starts accelerating from the final corner / last straight track to outpace the horse in front. So this graphic here, the stalker is behind the front runner and the runaway runner, waiting until the opportune time to go ahead and take out the front runner and the runaway runner. And, you know, for a stalker, you're definitely going to want speed. You're probably going to want intelligence because it's going to need to use the skills to actually go ahead and pass up the front runner and the runaway runner at the end of the race. As you can see, it starts accelerating from the final corner and the last straight. So it's definitely going to have to be fast and smart to use its skills and catch up on the front runner and runaway runner. And then the stretch runner, it's a running style that is positioned furthest to the back until the middle of the race. And then from the middle of the race, it starts accelerating from the final corner / last straight track to outpace the horse in front. So a stretch runner for sure will need to have high speed, high intellect. Really, you're going to be able to train all of the skills yourself. But to start things off, if you don't have a horse yet, if you don't have any whitelist and you want to pick one up from the market, basically you have the ability, if we go back to the One Planet Marketplace, you have the ability to look for a specific talent, right? Let's say you want the stalker, an S-rank stalker, you can go ahead and select that, and it's going to show all the horses with the S-rank stalker, and you can price it from low to high if you're looking for a deal. And you can see you can pick up an S-rank stalker for 9.5 Luna. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This is horse rank 5617. So let's punch that into our rarity calculator and take a look at how this one is doing. And this one is, according to this metric, it is not as good percentage-wise as the one we were just looking at. So this one has all D's for its talents over here except for the stalker. So it's specifically a stalker horse. Now if we look at the skills, this one has 48 speed, 53 stamina, 79 power. Okay, so that's decent, right? It's a good horse for those curvy tracks again. 35 grit and 35 intellect, which aren't great. All right, but like I said, you're going to be able to train these up within the game. Remember, the gameplay aspects, there's the training, there is the PvE, basically you're racing against the computer, as well as the PvP racing. So you will be able to train your horse's stats over here. But nonetheless, this is how you basically go ahead and find your particular horse or batch of horses that you want to run with. And with that being said, let's go ahead and break down the skills in further detail right now so that you really understand all the different skills and the effects that they're going to have on your horse during the game. So to do so, we can go ahead and take a look at this Medium article. And we can go ahead and read that there are over 500 skills in Derby Stars, and every horse has 6 skills. Those skills can be further classified into 1 special skill and 5 general skills. Alright, so the special skill, like I said, you can only use it at the final spurt of the race. And then the common skills can be used at any time during the race, given that the conditions are met. Some common skills will only be able to be used at the beginning of the race, some only in the middle, etc. So it will tell you that, and as long as the conditions are met, your horse will be able to use the skills. And the higher the intellect level, the more often and the better time your horse will actually go ahead and use the different skills. So the distinction between them is very easy. The special skill is only used in the last spurt of the match, and it shows a much stronger effect than common skills. It is indeed used to turn the game around at the last minute, but special skills are not always used once per game. The conditions for using the skill must be satisfied first and foremost. Then whether or not the skill is activated is determined probabilistically depending on intellect. In other words, it may not be used at all in a match, and even if it is used, it will only be used once. A common skill, on the other hand, can be used multiple times within a match. The higher the intellect, the more times the skill can be used in a single match. However, if the use time of the skill is set, it cannot be used if it is out of that section. Taking the above screenshot as an example, the case of the early rush skill, this one right here, this is acceleration increases very slightly at the start. The time of use is identified as at the start, meaning it is only used at the start of a match. On the other hand, Healthcare 1 can be used repeatedly throughout the match. With Healthcare 1, you can see HP increases very slightly during the race, and HP is the amount of time that your horse can run for max speed. Alright, so this is a good skill to have, of course. Let's go ahead and read on that all stadiums at Derby Stars are divided into 5 zones: the start, early, mid, late, and final spurt of the race. Alright. So also all skills have activation conditions and activation probability. It does not trigger 100% just because the condition is met. First, the trigger condition refers to the current situation of the arena. For example, conditions such as excellent weather within 5th place, many other horses around, refer to the situation of the stadium. Your horses can use the skill only when these conditions are met. Therefore, in order to easily satisfy the triggering conditions, you should carefully consider the conditions of the competition you want to participate in. Weather, distance, direction of rotation, characteristics of competing horses, the turf or dirt, etc. before deciding to participate or not. What is this telling you? It's telling you that most likely you're going to need, if you're going to be serious about this game and try to make as much money from it as possible and really play competitively, you will need to have different kinds of horses depending on the competition you are actually going to be racing in. Having one horse that's good for turf, windy tracks, then having another horse that's good for the dirt, straight runs. These are things that will be coming into play here with Derby Stars, and you should start thinking about it now when you're looking at the open market for the horses that you want to pick up for yourself. We can go ahead and read further. If the activation conditions are satisfied, the use of the skill is determined by the activation probability. In order to increase the activation probability, the horse must have high intellect. And even a horse with low intellect can increase its intellect through training. Of course, intellect is not the only factor that affects the game, so you have to choose which stat to raise. So when you're training your horse, you're going to have to pick. Do you want to raise its intellect? Do you want to raise its speed, power, stamina, etc.? Grit? You will have that decision as the horse trainers, all stuff to consider. So to explain more about the skill, the special skill is designed to have a big impact on speed and acceleration ability when making the last spurt regardless of type. And the 5 common skills are as followed. There are the self-condition buff, the competitor condition buff, the arena condition buff, the HP recovery, and the D buff. Alright, so all these will have different uses, and you will have to come to your own conclusions when you're looking at the horses to actually go ahead and pick up on the open market. All right, so to go ahead and start wrapping this video up, again, the NFT mint will be taking place on One Planet. And if you don't have a whitelist spot, there will be 800 horses available in the public mint. And if you don't want to deal with that fiasco of the mint, you can simply pick one up from the open market. You do have the ability to cipher between all the different stats, talents, and skills of the horses so that you can find one that you are actually looking for. Of course, you want a horse that's talented, right? And there are the 4 different talents. So say you want an S runaway runner, you can go ahead and search for that. And for these, this one has a higher floor price of 15 Luna here. If we look at this horse 3319, and put that into the rarity calculator, we can go ahead and see that this horse is ranked in the 55th percentile, and it does have the S rank runaway runner, and all the rest of them are Ds. And looking at this, it does have speed 57, power of 78, and decent intellect. So this is a pretty good horse here, right? This is definitely a decent looking horse. And looking at the skills, it has the last acceleration special skill, and then it does have all the common skills listed here. And then it has the speedy horse metric. And looking at the speedy horse metric, you can see it scores a 167 out of 184. So this is a fast horse, and it's also a decently smart horse. So yeah, this one is pretty good, 3319. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other ones listed next to it. This one is 6183. Compare these very quickly. 6183. So remember, the speedy metric on this one is 167. Now for this one, it's 181. All right, so this one's even faster. Right, so this one is ranked 64th in the 64th percentile. The last one was in the 55th, but this one is faster. It has higher speed, stamina, power, but lower intellect. So you're making a trade-off. This horse is faster, but it's not as smart. All right, so if you want a smarter horse that will be able to use its abilities better, you're going to want to go with the other one, this one here, 3319. But if you want a faster one that's not as smart, you can go with 6183. These are just examples. Of course, this is not financial advice, but I wanted to make this video so that it is clear the differences between all these different horses, and also the fact that you will have to basically put together a team if you're going to be competitive in this game to have one player for each different scenario or race that you will actually participate in. So in this video, we covered the differences between the Derby Stars NFT horses so that you have a better idea of what to look for when you were looking at all the different horses available on the open market. Remember, Derby Stars will be having their final NFT mint in just 1 day from now on One Planet. But I hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you let me know by leaving a like down below. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section down below. And if you are new to Crypto Empire and you are not already subscribed, go ahead right now and smash that subscribe button down below and turn on all the notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. And my name is Connor from Crypto Empire, and I will see you in the next video.